Hey there, and greetings everybody. Welcome here to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So we're back for the Great Album Challenge, which we do every second week. We alternate that with Ben's Album Challenge. So Ben gives me, one week he gives me an album to review, and then the next week he gives me 10 albums to rate. And we call that the Great Album Challenge. So he picks his 10 favorite albums from a specific year. The year he's chosen tonight is 1970. And then I rate those albums according to how I like them. So you're actually getting two ratings here, one from him and one from me. Okay, so we have 10 pretty solid albums. Even the stuff that I hadn't heard before was really actually interesting to me. There's two or three albums here I'd never heard before, and all three of them, the three I hadn't heard, I liked quite a bit. I have to say, they actually impressed me more than I thought they would. Okay, so there was only 4 albums of these that I actually owned. Actually, there should have been 5 of them, but one of them has disappeared, and who knows where it is. I don't even think I have it. I think it's one of those albums that was kind of lent out and was never returned. That was in the days when I used to do that, which I don't anymore. But anyways, all that said and done. So how I normally do this is I take the 10 albums and I rank them according to how I like them. And I start from the least favorite of them and I go to the most favorite. So number 10 to number 1 type of thing. So we're going to get started now. So the album of these that's coming in at number 10 is a self-titled album by the band Wishbone Ash. I do like Wishbone Ash. I don't actually own anything from them, but I've been listening to them from various album battles and series that I've done, so I've gotten to know them a little bit. Maybe I own one. I may own one. I'm not sure. I'd have to look for it. But this one I don't own. I found this album to be a little bit almost jazzy. Not super jazzy, but a little bit. There's a hint of jazz in there. And it's got some pop and it's got some hard stuff on it as well. It's not a bad album overall. It didn't appeal to me in a great sense of the word. So because of that, I had to put it in last place, and so it's coming in at 10. But by no means is it a bad album. I don't think it's bad at all. I just think that in this group of 10, it's the worst one. Not that it's bad, but it's at the bottom. Okay, number 9 is an album that I listened to, part live album, part kind of studio album. All 4 tracks are very long. It's an interesting album. Lots of interesting sounds and noise, a good noisescape, I think. Has a lot of jazz influence on it as well, as more so than Wishbone Ash. Like, there's actually a lot of jazzy stuff on this, where Wishbone Ash just had hints of it, where this one had more of that stuff. Also had quite a bit of prog on it. Interesting, but very instrumental, not as much vocals as I generally like in my music. So it came down there because of those couple of negatives for me anyways. And so I put it in 9th, and that's the 3rd from Soft Machine. Number 8, I actually own this album. I like it. It's a good album. It ranks decently enough on my ranking list, but still not, to me, a top-notch album from this band. We're talking about Time and a Word. It's going to come in here at number 8. Just going to put on my glasses here for a sec. So basically, I love Sweet Dreams. I love Astral Traveler. Time and a Word's good. Then, those are the tracks I generally like on this album. But it's not, to me, one of their better albums. And even though I've had it for some time, like, I don't know, maybe 5 or 10 years I've owned this album, it came in at number 8 today, because I just think a couple of the albums or actually 3 of the albums I hadn't listened to before, I thought were better than it. So It's coming in at number 8. Number 7, this was an album that kind of surprised me because I listen to this band on the radio in the day all the time. They have lots of hits, lots and lots of hits, they're a very horn dominated kind of band, very up tempo, some different type of vocals, high energy band, great guitar playing, some really good instrumentation, and I was actually pleasantly surprised on some of the stuff I hadn't heard before, just how good that instrumentation was. This is a band with a lot of good stuff, and a band that I've been thinking about getting into, so there was an opportunity here to get into them, so I listened to this entire album. It's a good album. Chicago's 2 will come in at number 7. Yeah, solid stuff. So the next album up was an album by David Bowie that I also hadn't got a chance to listen to because I don't own it, but I had listened to it on one previous occasion and then this occasion. And I was surprised how actually heavy this album is. Pretty heavy for an artist that I never really think of as being really heavy. Just got a lot of really solid guitar, a lot of really solid heavier songs on it. And so I gave it the number 6 spot, and that's The Man Who Sold the World by David Bowie. Good album. Okay, now the next 5 are really good. The next album up is also an album that I had never heard from this band before, and I've been following this band a bit with the intent of getting more into them. This album actually surprised me. It had some. I actually made a couple notes on this one. I don't normally make notes for this kind of show, but I did for this. There was some real heavy bass on it, but that's not really that surprising because I'd heard other stuff by this band that also had heavy bass on it. I think the vocals are really good here. And it's just a heavier rock album than you would think it was. Also had the vocals on it kind of reminded me of the guy from Atomic Rooster. His vocals were very similar and definitely in the same range and very similar sounding. And we're talking about Golden Earrings, self-titled album. And I thought, and what really surprised me about this album is because it came out in 1970, it was actually like the 5th or 6th album by this band, and I was surprised by that because I didn't know they went that far back into the 60s. I thought maybe they might have came from 69 or something, but actually went all the way back to 65, in which they were called the Golden Earrings, and then they just became then they became Golden Earrings, and then they just became Golden Earring. So yeah, excellent album. Number 5 for me today. Number 4, self-titled album by this band. I owned this album for many years in vinyl, and then when I started collecting CDs, it was one of the probably in the first couple of years I got this album, and I kind of like the album, but it's to me it's a little bit too heavy on the bluesy side, maybe a little bit slow and melodic, a little bit too slow and melodic for my taste. It doesn't rank with their better albums, but I still think it's good enough here to finish number 4, and that's Black Sabbath's self-titled album. Okay, so the top 3, easily the top 3. The top 2, definitely the top 2. Number 3 is an album I got in the last year or so, and it's been through my playlist. I still like it. It's really good. I didn't like it as much as I originally thought I was going to like it, but I still like it quite a bit, and that's Benefit from Jethro Tull, number 3. There we are, in case you haven't seen it before. This is actually one of the rare occasions when there's actually only 4 members of Jethro Tull on this album. But yeah, really solid album. Number 2 was going to be probably in a fight for number 1 here, but came up a little short, and I think a lot of that has to do with it. I've only had it for 2 or 3 years compared to the other album that I've had for eons. This one had to come in at number 2. In Rock by Deep Purple, but still a really good album. It's actually a fantastic album. I foresee the day that this will get a masterpiece certificate and be moved up into the next level. But so good. and I enjoy this album a lot. There's a lot of stuff on here I still listen to, and comes in at number 2. Number 1 was going to be, no doubt, was going to be this album by Black Sabbath, Paranoid. Yeah, I've played it too much and it probably burned out. It's not my favorite Sabbath album, but it's in my top 5 for sure. Sorry. This is actually a newer copy than the one I had. The one I had was really destroyed, and then I saw this someplace for $1 and said, time to replace it. I mean, the album cover itself is kind of stupid looking. I don't really get what the point of that is. Really bad, but the songs on it, top notch. This is one of the best albums of its time, and definitely one of the best of this group, and definitely the best album today. Black Sabbath's Paranoid. So there you have it. Those are my rankings of on the Great Album Challenge for this week. So I'm just going to reiterate them. So we got Black Sabbath, number 1, Paranoid, sorry. Deep Purple in Rock, number 2. Jethro Tull's Benefit, number 3. Number 4 was Black Sabbath's self-titled album, which I will have to replace because I'm not likely going to find out where it went. Number 5, Golden Earrings' self-titled album from 1970, of course. The Man Who Sold the World by David Bowie comes in at number 6. Number 7 is Chicago's 2, the first one with just Chicago on it instead of Chicago Transit Authority. Number 8, Time and a Word from Yes. Number 9, Third from Soft Machine. And number 10, the self-titled album of Wishbone Ash. Ask you another question. Okay. Anyways, there you have it. That's I keep wanting to say Ben's. That's the Great Album Challenge for this week. Next week it'll be Ben's Album Challenge. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please hit like and subscribe. If you got any comments, you can put them down below, or if you want to put your list, or maybe there's a couple of albums here you wanted to add that you think got to go on a list like this, you can put those all in down below. It's all about learning about this music and enjoying it and talking about the stuff we like, and that's what we do. We do stuff like this. So anyways, I hope to see you next week for Ben's Album Challenge, and take care and have yourself a good evening. Good night.